So I'd like to invite onto the stage Divya Kandukuri and our two panelists, Kalyani Thakur and Manasa Yendluri. And Divya is she has worn various hats, but currently she works with Zuban. She has focused on literature from the margins, looking at voices that are not necessarily heard. So she's going to be speaking to our two writers, and I will let her introduce the two of them. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody. Jai Bhim Sabiko. So today we will be speaking in many languages because we have very interesting panelists from two different parts of the country, two different generations. So be ready for listening to maybe many languages, but I'll try to keep it in English. Yeah, without any further delay, I would like to introduce our writers today. So we have Kalyani Thakur, a poet, novelist from Bengal. She is born in Bagla in the district of Nadia, West Bengal. She began her professional life in the late 80s in the Indian Railways. Later, she went on to start a wall magazine called Neer that subsequently turned into a regular magazine, Neer Rituparna. Now an important forum for Dalit women writers. She was extensively written poetry, novella, short stories, and her autobiography in Bangla has won the Sparrow Literary Award in 2017. So you should be ready for a lot of history and a lot of wisdom from her generation and how it is to be in the literary field, especially coming from West Bengal. And we have one more writer here who is from Hyderabad. We have Manasa Yendluri, a poet and writer whose book Milinda, a collection of short stories, has won Sahitya Akademi Puraskar Award. Winner of several awards, she works for Chadavu, a Telugu e-book reading app, as an editor. Yeah. मैं डायरेक्टली सीधा सवाल में जाना चाहूँगी आज. मैं थोड़ा हिंदी, थोड़ा तेलुगु, थोड़ा इंग्लिश मिक्स होगा. थोड़ा मेरे साथ ये कीजिए, सब्र रखिए. ठीक है. विदाउट फर्दर डिले आई लाइक टू स्टार्ट विथ यू कल्याणी जी. आप बहुत वोकल रहे हैं, स्पेशली इस मामले की दलित महिला जो लेखन होती है, दलित महिलाओं की लेखन और राइटिंग जो होती है वो अलग होती है और एक लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस के साथ होके होती है. ये इस मामले में आपने बहुत वोकल रहा है. सो आई वांट टू नो हाउ योर एक्सपीरियंस हैज़ बीन, स्पेशली बीइंग समवन इन बंगाल वेयर बद्रीलोक मेन हैज़ डोमिनेटेड द लिटरेरी स्पेस. सो आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा है, कुछ चैलेंजेस उसके बारे में आप शेयर करिए.
Not in Bengal, as because India is a country where so many castes, there is a caste domination and patriarchal system structure of the society. So it's not only in Bengal, it's everywhere, and racism, casteism is everywhere in the world. And the domination, someone is dominating and someone ruled, but some people are trying to resist the situation, and the Dalit writings, because they were prohibited to enter the education center. Last 150 years, they entered the education center. They, due to education rights, they achieved. So they are competing with the people who are educated near about thousands years continuation. And so the resistance is very tough to reach the and compete with these educated persons, these Bhadralok peoples. And they were untouchable, but now the situation is changed. But somewhere we see the condition is not like that. It's also in Bengal, write in my writings. And actually, in the novella, I wrote the memoir, the nostalgia of the people who left their country. And after that, and most of them are not only Bhadralok, the untouchable, the Dalit peoples came and the refugees, they became refugees. Repeatedly, they were shifted from their own land, and they rehabilitate repeatedly, and they survive not only citizenship issues, they survive caste issues, caste domination, they survive by religious dominations. So these people are surviving, and in this particular novella, I wrote the Bengali people, how they came here, they shifted to the camp, and how they discuss with they compare their last life of that country and this country. They compare, and they live with a bill. The bill means that like a natural pond, natural lake type of, area. And I talked my father, why do you living near this bill? He said, nobody will die because bill can alive everybody's, because paddy is there, fish are there, others others vegetables also they are. So they actually they live with these very little things, and with the nature, and they live with the nature. They have no more expectation for living. So after that, those peoples established their schools for education of their children. They established colleges, and the people, the Horishabas, the Motua cult, which is not directly reflected in the Bengali literature. But actually I belong to the Motua family. So I wrote about the Motua cult and their protest. Actually, Motua Guru, Harichand Thakur and Guruchand Thakur, they protest, and they were working for these backward peoples when Phule was working, when Savitribai Phule was working. At that period, at the first of 19th century, Harichand Thakur and Guruchand Thakur, and they actually they fight for the education right of the untouchable people. And Guruchand Thakur was educated from a I want to say Muslim education center को क्या बोलते हैं? Madrasa. Guruchand Thakur started his education from a madrasa, and he was quite literate. After that, he realizes that the only path of mukti or relief is the education. Education is the final and last achievement. I think it is the only one way to overcome this situation or these untouchabilities or others. Education, without education, it not be possible. I said quietly, it is a novella of that village, the people, their livings, their cultures, their religion, and like such others writings, but this type of, and the protagonist of this novella is women. After all, Dalit women, women who, a girl who is living with the nature, with the field, with the bill, with the other animals of cows. So they are collecting their grasses, snails collecting for the swans. Like this type, village girl, how she become, after that she is writing, the bill was heavy water, and the water lily was 14 feet length, but now the bill is without water, and there is no water is there, and the people trying to cultivate jute, cultivate सरसों को क्या बोलते हैं? Mustard and paddies. There is no water, no fish, no that life. Those who are living depending on this water. So the girl was crying inside, and she left the village and she came to the city, passing the village, and this type of she is also became she is also remove she is also left her village as this type of writings, and I think you should. This is the Bengali one. The Bengali books is this.
For those of you who don't know, the book that she's talking about is Andar Bill. The book has been translated by Zuban Books and is available in English. And yeah, translated by Ashit Biswas. And the book also is an anecdotal story, which is also in a way very imaginative and visualizes the struggles of Dalit refugees who came from West Bengal during the partition. And Bill in Bengali Bangla, I'm sorry, means the lake, and the story is about the community that is living around this area. We would be speaking more about it and some of the aspects that she also mentioned right now. For example, Motwa religion. We will be coming back to you to explain more about the aspects that you mentioned. I'd like to proceed to Manasa now. So Manasa, I would like to ask you about, we'll start with your book, Milinda, which has also got an award. Congratulations for that. So I'd like to know how your process has been like, and also with the reception of this book. As a young woman writer myself, seeing someone like you get this award at a national stage is very important. So I would like to know what it was like for you while writing the stories as well as of the reception of the book.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. First of all, I think it's great to see some new faces today than watching the boring regular Telugu circle all the time wherever I go. I mean, that's a new stage for me. So, as you have asked and congratulated me, thanks for that. Obviously, I was happy to receive Central Sahitya Academy Yuva Puraskar for the year 2020 for my short story collection Milinda. That happened in 2021. I mean, going to Bangalore and receiving the award. So right after receiving the award, there were many newspapers and channels that came to me and interviewed me about how did it feel taking, one of the highest Indian civil awards. I said it was great. So on a personal note, some of my friends and close people, they asked me, how was it taking a national award from this government? I mean, you being a Dalit, you being a minority, and all that. And I said, since that was a very close group, uh, even though some Dalit murder would have taken place in my own family, I would have been ready to take this award. Because Dalits, though they are educated or uneducated, they've never had that privilege of, getting acknowledged or getting that honor uh, from bigger platforms, especially from the government. If you take Sahitya Academy itself, there were only Brahmins, Reddis, or Kammas, or some other caste that they are not Dalits. They are the only ones who took the award, who spoke about their upper caste privileges of taking the award again. So I definitely and I strongly said, even some Dalit murder, some Dalit rape, or whatever, if it had happened in my own family, I would not give the award back. I would not reject the award. I would definitely take it, because I'm just not Manasa coming from some family and taking this award. I belong to a community. I belong to a larger section of people who were being always neglected, who were being always looked down the centuries. So in one of the interviews, I happened to say, um, because people were actually waiting to see that I received this award since long back. So finally, I received it in 2020. So people also asked me, were you waiting for this award since 2 years or 3 years since you, released the book? And I said, I did not wait for this award, but since 2000, since maybe 3,000 years, this award has been waiting for me, to get that honor for the award, not for me. So that's how it happened with receiving Kendra Sahitya Academy Yuva Puraskar. And one more happiest thing about this award is Yuva Puraskar has been started, I think, since 2011 or something. And almost 12 or 13 awardees, out of 12 or 13 awardees, most of them belong to minorities, most of them belong to Dalit sections, unlike, the Senior Sahitya Academy Puraskar.
Thank you for letting us know about that. Uh, since you mentioned, I would go in that order only. Uh, I can see that in your writing, you, as a feminist, also you speak about caste, gender, as well as religion, but also you have spoken about queer issues and sexuality as well. So I want to know how these roles inform your writing in general, at large, not just with Melinda, but you have written and translated other work as well. So, how does these aspects play a role in your writing?
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Because I belong to a community which falls under minority issues, or since I'm a Dalit, or since I'm a woman, which is also a weaker section in terms of gender, I get connected. I get connected to people who are definitely forgotten in our society, because whenever you address people, when you're on a dais like this, you usually you simply say men and women, but some people in the crew, they definitely know they do not belong to men or women, or some people know definitely that they belong to both men and women. So we simply forget them. We simply keep them aside from our thoughts also. So in the same way, I have a soft corner for them. I have a concern for them. So that's how I happen to write about queer community too. But uh, being a straight woman, writing about them is definitely a second-hand job, I would say. It's just a small noise that I want to make about them by writing, so that readers would at least remember that there are other people, they are somebody else other than men and women, girls and boys. So that's just my concern for them. Actually, they are the ones who have to come out, and they have to write it. It also happened with Dalit literature in the beginning. I don't know about other languages, but in Telugu, it was upper caste women and men wrote about Dalits, and then Dalits came out as writers, and they actually threw the papers out of the window, and they started writing about themselves. So I also wish to see that, they're actually tearing up the papers of my LGBT stories, and they have to come out, and this is my story. They have to write from their own pens and papers.
Thank you, thank you. I have a similar question to you, Kalyani ji. You have been speaking about, in the book Andhar Bill as well, you have spoken about Mathua religion and the culture. And when we were speaking, you mentioned that in Bangla, you have written this in your dialect of Eastern Bangla dialect. So I'd like to know more about how your religion and your language and everything like plays a role in your writing process.
Actually, I wrote 5 poetry books, so there is I do not use the vernacular language, but in this particular book, I use the dialect of Joshore district of Bangladesh. The people came from there and they talked till date. The elder persons told of that dialects, and they talked to each other. And I use that particular dialect in the conversation of the characters in this particular books. So there is fighting is happening in Bengal, that Bangla Bachao, the language of Bengali is dying. Not only Bengali, the all regional languages is in crucial places, and I think the people of Bangladesh, they are trying to to make their especially their drama theater, they use the vernacular languages. They are trying to alive with the languages. And in Bengal, there is so many languages and so many peoples, but the dominating languages is Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan. That type is not is expected, I think.
Can you also tell us more about Mathua culture that you have mentioned in the book as well?
First, I said about Motua culture. There is a lot of lyrics in Motua religion, a lot of lyrics. And the biography of Harishchandra Thakur is known, written by Tarak Chandra Sarkar, who is not, it was written and at the first decade of, at it was 100 or 150 years ago. But the name is not mentioned in any history books or any literature history books of Tarak Chandra Sarkar, the Kobiyal. And the another biography of Guruchand Thakur is Sri Sri Guruchand Chori. It was written by Mohanando Haldar. But both the books are the history of Bengal and the lower caste people, social history of Bengalis, and they are fighting for education, for our economic right, for political right, and the result of that, Mr. Mondal, J.N. Mondal, Jagannath Mondal came and they fight with, together with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and they left Ambedkar from Maharashtra to Bengal, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar was elected from Bengal and then go to Gana Parishad, and after that the constitution was written. This history is not, we read this history from our syllabus, but it's the history, and this history should be written, and because of why the Dalit people are writing, and they are writing the actual history of India. And this history is necessary to write, and this is our responsibilities, this is our duties, and all Dalit educated students and people's are duty. This is their duty to write the great peoples who are born in Dalit families and Dalit who work for their development, their upliftment, to write those history, not only Harishchandra Guruchand, the writers of those lyricists, and not only Bengal, not all India, we search on, and Phule, Ambedkar, or Savitribai Phule's, Fatima, and like this in Bengal also, there is so many great men in Bengal, and we should search them and write the new history of India. I expect.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. I think it's no more time for pass the mic discussion. It's the destroy the stage, and it's ours now, and we are the mainstream now. On that note, I have a rather controversial question, maybe. Like, I just wanted to ask both of you, what do you, how do you feel, or what do you think of today's theme? For example, it's called writing from the margins. And I'm sure all of us have been in one or more panels where it's either writing from the margins, or imagining from the margins, or redefining from the margins. So I just want to know, what do you think of the theme today? Either of you can go ahead. Manasa, why don't you?
Why is it controversial in the first place? I didn't get that. Okay, I'll tell you about why do I write from margins from my own point of view. I'm a Dalit Christian woman, so I'm a Dalit, I'm a woman, I'm a Christian. So writing from the margins is always there. So you can't actually escape from that, you know. So, and if I want to write out of these three topics, I'll have to lie down on a cot under a guava tree or a mango tree, like you know, the regular Telugu heroine, and then I'll have to imagine how how would a man come into my life, and how would he make love to me, or how would I have children in my in my lap, how would I love the family and all that. That's what happened in Telugu, most of the Telugu, the mainstream literature. So when you start writing from your own life, your own experiences, it's always from the margins for a Dalit Christian woman.
या आपका व्यू जानना चाहते हैं इस पे
फिर
नहीं मतलब जो भी आज का थीम है राइटिंग फ्रॉम द मार्जिन्स मैं आई थिंक मैं पहले भी आपको पूछ चुकी हूँ ये सेम सवाल बट आपका ख्याल क्या है कि जो भी दलित महिला लेख होते हैं या फिर हमारे जो ऑथर्स होते हैं उनको सिर्फ ऐसे पैनल्स पे क्यों बुलाया जाता है कि मार्जिन्स वाला पैनल्स पे क्यों बुलाया जाता है हमको ऐसे मेन स्ट्रीम वाला पैनल में क्यों नहीं रखते वो मेरा सवाल है
first you start from margins, then you go. The time will come, you will be the mainstream and they will be the margin. And you are starting now. It's a relay race. They are more miles ago they are, and you are starting from here. So your speed, your dedication, your others. Devotion, everything is required, and for not only for you, for your society.
Yeah, thank you. On
And
that
this one is an anthology of Bengali Dalit women writings. This is also available there, and this book also. Bengali books, some one copies of left every issues. There is these books are there, and the periodicals which I edited, name Need Ritupatro, that is also there, and last 8-9 years there is the issues are specially for Dalit women writings, Bengali Dalit women writings. All these books are there.
Yeah, thank you. We can also look up these books at their at the. Yeah. We have 10 minutes where we'll take questions. But before we end this and open up for the questions, I would like to know if you have any comments to make, or can we move forward with the question? Okay. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you for that panel. And I was actually intrigued by Divya's question at the end. And it made me wonder, as somebody who's part of the organizing of such festivals, has it become a trope, this whole writing from the margins? And I know that there's also this other phrase of centering the margin. But, okay, let's say we stick with this metaphor of center and margin. Can the margin actually create its own space that doesn't require the rest, to give it legitimacy? So is the only way you can find a position, and again, I'm using these terms which are all open to contestation, but is there a way in which you don't need the center in order to define yourself? Right? So often you're defining yourself in opposition to a center. Or is that what the center is doing? Which is the question that, in a way, that Divya was asking.
So I just want to add a follow-up question on that. So what is the motivation when you write? Is it like, is a part of motivation is to talk to the center, try to change them, or as she said, build your own center, or like I just want to know what is the motivation when like what is the part of the motivation, and if the motivation is to change the center, like how we like how the center is engaging with the margins, or how is the reception has been, how is the reception has been for three of you when you write speak about these issues, and yeah, those two.
I think they respond and then we'll take it.
Uh, the only way to more read and more write, only way to achieve, to reach the goal, more read and more write.
Manasa, do you want to add something? I think I'll just respond to one of the, because I was the one who asked the question as well. I think when I was saying that, it was also, is there, how do, yeah. To answer your question and her query as well, I think the reason why I've asked this question is also because as a young person and as also moderator of this panel, it just gets, in a way, exhausting to see my people and our community to always be placed at the margins. And I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional right now, but to see that you're always redefining something or you are trying to cater to someone. But honestly, I think our people are just being themselves, having fun, writing. We're just writing. I think when a Dalit person or a person from any religious minority in general, uh, even if they're existing, it becomes exotic. I honestly, I feel the vision that, or the future that I would envision for my people is that all of us just want to rest. We are not here to cater to anyone. We are not here to educate anyone. Like as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says, educate, educate, organize. It is for self as well. It is not the duty of people from the margins to cater to the center. And nobody is asking the center ki hamare liye ye karo. The thing is, it's for centuries you did not let us enter the center. Even if you see how the villages have been built, I mean, Hyderabad, how Hyderabad has been built. Who are the people living in the outskirts of the city? I'm from Ongole. Like, I can clearly say that the people living in the center of my town and the people living in the outskirts, even the name of the colony is a caste name. We have Kammapalam, we have Madigapalam in my hometown. All of you would know if you are from Telugu state that we have names of the colonies based on the caste, and we know who are in the center, who are in the margins. When I say margins, I also mean that. And it's not that people are not trying to buy houses in the center. There is no scope to do that. So, and again, like there is nobody here to cater or educate anybody. I think we are just existing and living our life, and I really hope that that's how it's been seen as well. And that's the reason why I asked this question as well. Like, why is it has to be the margins all the time? Yeah, I hope it answers. Yeah, we can take the next question.
You kind of partly answered to my question, but anyway, my question is for Ms. Mansa. Very interesting I mean, my question is a follow-up to what you said, the intersectionalities of being Dalit women and, coming from the Christian thing. So what has been the most challenging part of your writing? And adding to his question also. So now that you have written all of this, and you have also received the deserving award for this also. So what next? How do we take the conversations forward? And not just, restricting ourselves to platforms like this and like she rightly pointed to these kind of panels, but what else can we do? How else can we take these conversations forward? And also in the mainstream, how else can we get them into the mainstream conversations?
This mainstream and marginalizing, that's a never-ending discussion, I think. When ma'am asked that question or, the things she put forward, I remember two things. One was in one of the universities, there was a professor who happened to be my family friend, who is a Brahmin. When he entered the department as the head, he said, why there are, a lot of SCs and STs in the general category when they have their own, separate category. I just remembered that it can be or cannot be an answer for that. And when you talk about awards, as I said earlier, Sahitya Academy Awards have been given to Kammas and Brahmins and other upper caste writers. But that's not a Kamma award, that's not a Brahmin award, that's not a Kapu award, that's not a Reddy award. But how is it the awards are being only going to those communities? And when it's a general award, which does not stand on caste, it also has to reach Muslims, it also has to reach Dalits, it also has to reach SCs or Adivasis, STs or something. So it's a never-ending discussion about the center and the margins in this country. And answering to your question, being a Dalit Christian woman, I personally, after publishing Melinda as a book, I knowingly or unknowingly, I started writing only about Christian things in my stories. I would want to bring that out, the joy of being a Christian in a caste-based country, and the tears behind enjoying your Christmas every year. That hate looks from your neighbors, or that unwanted Christmas tree on your threshold of your door every time. So I'm actually maybe fully turning out to be a Dalit Christian writer these days. So and also on the other hand, you do not have much of Christian writers in Telugu, especially from Dalit sections. Also from the other, who you call converted Christians from other castes. So I'm trying more to bring out Dalit Christian things into my stories.
We have time for one more question if anybody.
Mansa, I know you spoke about this just now, but I just wanted to say I'm a Dalit Christian woman myself, and I think reading your book felt like I'm hearing stories from my cousins, my older pinnies, and things like that. So thank you so much, first of all, for writing this. I wanted to hear, in your book, you also don't romanticize Christianity in any way, or you don't even put it down, right? You say it as it is, as we experience it. Wanted to hear if you faced any backlash from, it could be dominant caste Christians or like even peers or whatever else. And if you have faced, and what kind of backlash or criticism or whatever kind of things. And you've also said that you're slowly evolving into becoming a full Dalit Christian writer. And if you can say a little about that as well.
Yeah, my amma is enough to tear me into pieces whenever she, reads my Christian stories. She's a Mala, she's a Christian. She argues with me, saying that there is no such thing called Dalit Christian. How can you be a Dalit? How can you be a Christian? You're just you're just a sacred child of Christ, and you can't be a Dalit and you can't be a Christian at the same time. Mama, but you live in India. India stands on caste system, and she says F caste system simply. And then she goes back to her Bible and buries her head into the Bible and tries to teach us things from Bible. How to what do you call that? Parloka Rajyam. Heaven, yeah. How to reach heaven and how to get your plot registered in the heaven. She's more interested and she's more worried about, her place in the heaven rather than in her church. the church she goes, or for that matter, for all the churches, even if you enter into a church, the first seats are being taken by Brahmins, if there are any converted Brahmins, whatever church you go. The second seats are being taken by the other Shudras, the Kamma, or if they are there in the church. The back seats are being taken by BCs, and then my grandmother, the grand lady who teaches me about Christianity, Christ, and all the things, she sits at the back, and then she teaches me after coming home, you're a sinner that who did not attend church this Sunday. And by the way, today is also Sunday, and she's really upset with me today in the morning because she called me up and I said I have a meeting. That's a national thing, and she says you're worried about national seminars or international seminars. You're not worried about the heaven, which is far more glorious and what do you say, Pavitramaina? Sacred, platforms that they have been up in the sky. I don't know. And she's not been into a flight also, but she's always dreaming about, reaching onto the clouds, and somewhere there would be some kingdom there. So there is definitely a criticism from the family itself. Both my father's and my mother's families are greatly upset with my Christian writings because I write the truth. The way how they themselves are bored with the Bible, but they do not accept it outside. But as a writer, I bring that out in the public and make them maybe ashamed of the family. So there is always there. There is always there.
Yeah, thanks for the panel. Just a small comment. This Tamil writer, Imayam, once said, I am a Dalit writer, but my literature is not Dalit. That is to say that today, if you look at any regional languages, that's where you get all the literary production, whether Bengali, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, right? So if you pick up the prominent writers of 10 or 15 writers, I can vouch for you that half of them are Dalit writers. And many of them do not want to identify themselves or label themselves as a Dalit writers. They clearly say that they occupy the center stage. But still, if you think about how Dalit literature is framed today, is again a problem that you continue to think that you are in the center and they are from the margins. It's a kind of parallax view. It depends on where you stand and see, right? So I was also thinking about the whole Hyderabad Literary Festival. I mean, you have a particular kind of structure of the festival, then you have this literature from the margin. So I would like to bring this poem by Sukrita Rani, is one poem by her, which actually engages with this problem. She talks about her neighborhood, her household, her people, and ends by saying that you all think that we are in the margin of the village. But no, you're wrong. We are in the center, right? I'll end up there, I think.
So I would like to add a very small thing. Is writer, whatever. I clearly said that I'm writing about my religion, I'm writing about my caste, and I'm writing about my gender. The same thing also is happening in the center. They're writing about their religion. They're writing about their, the upper caste privileges. They're writing about themselves. It's happening, same with both the writers. But why are we calling it center? Why are we calling it mainstream? When I studied linguistics in my master's, a layman think that one of the dialects of a language is superior to all the other dialects, In Telugu, it happens with Godavari Telugu, that is more pure or whatever, that based on Sanskrit things or something like that. So, but there is nothing called, a superior dialect in a language. So in the same way, even in literature, there is no center or margins. It is all in our mind that, upper caste people belong to mainstream and Dalits belong to marginalized sections. Of course, we are, but still you cannot count the dominated writers who write, their writings to be center. If you listen to her earlier, she said, maybe they belong to marginalized sections and we belong to the mainstream, she said, and we all clapped for that. So I think it's all in our mind to count which as which section.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. So I have a couple of questions for Kalyani. Kalyani, Bengal is known for very famous publishers. Anando, Desh, to name a few. When you were telling that the biographies, which we know, many other Dalit writings coming from Bengal are self-published. So is it changing in any way? Do you see, as an editor of a periodical, do you see the so-called mainstream publishers are becoming interested in publishing Dalit writers more? Is it changing in any way? And if not, or we also know that there was Chaturtha Dunya, which is probably not as active as it used to be. And such sporadic platforms, such organizations which give some publishing support are still very numbered. So what is currently the need to promote, to bring into visibility the Dalit writing? If you can comment on these two.
Actually, own publishing house is required, and supporting the writings, the writers, because the Dalit writers are, he is the writer, he is the publisher, or he or she is the publisher, and she is the seller also, marketing. As because I take the table in Kolkata Book Fair, then I sold I displayed all the books and I sold it. Only me, and there is no other representative. Those girls who are writings, and their writings not about their monishis or their great men's, their societies. Their writings is romanticism and nature. This is, I want to say the writings of Dalit is quite special and quite experienced writings. And these are the living, their social, their, I think, their occasion, profession, their profession, this is they are living with various professions, and the experience of those professions, their leathers professions, their fishing professions, their boating, they are cultivating, farming. So this type of living and the more people and large number of Indians are there, and we do not know, and the situation and they are living, and the reflection of those people's living to the literature, to the culture, to the drama, cinema, and everywhere. When we see the situations and the language of cinema, language of, because we see the serials of the televisions and others, which are in our room, house to house, there is the relationships or other types, or there is no depth, or generally people's life is not reflected in the silver. Yeah. I missed your question or not. I said I answered that it is required and sponsorer is required positively, and that is regional language sponsorer, because we are writing and publishing, and after that the English translation became, and there is established publishers, but all are not translated till date, and writings are not more because more educated people are not present now till date.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we are running past the time. So that's it for the questions. I'd like to conclude this session by reminding you all again of our writers, a 14-year-old Muktabai Salve from 1850s to right now we have Manasa Yendluri and Kalyani Thakur. So I hope you all remember that our writers have been there from Bhakti time, I don't know, like since, and we have oral traditions, we have our oral histories, everything has been documented, everything has been there through our songs and our folklores and our everyday conversations, and including our dialect and language, and it flows through us. So maybe I think that's how I would like to say that writing from the margins at the center. Thank you for attending and being there today. Thank you.
Thank you, HLF, because I present here because of HLF. Thank you, HLF. Thank you.
Yeah,
Again.
Thanks to the panel, and I'm sorry we couldn't pass the mic around to some people who wanted to ask questions, because we are really over time and we'd like to give everybody some time to go have lunch before the 2 o'clock panel start. But the writers are here and you can continue to have conversations with them. Their books are available, so please pick them up, and you know, one panel is not the end of a conversation. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.